And welcome in after week 3 of some very eventful football. How you feeling this week, D?
I feel pretty good. It's great to be with you, Tony. Always happy to be in the booth with you. And it's certainly a better place to be than our partner, Chris, who's keeping close to the porcelain throne this evening. Something Browns to the Super Bowl. You know how it goes. Audio doesn't sound great from there. At least that's what Tony's informed him of. So everyone is just stuck with the two of us.
Yes, absolutely. It's the two most handsome of the group. So enjoy it while you got it. Oh, yeah. Well, enough of the toilet throne. Let's get in some quick hits, recapping MFFL in week 3.
All right, Tony. Yeah, week 3 was a wild one. Our certified beefer of the week goes to none other than Trevor. 173.6 points. I mean, nobody's beef came even close. So he's the big swinging man for the week. Lowest scoring team, sorry, bud. This one goes to you with a solid score of 68.84 points. It was a rough week. It was hard in the streets for just about everyone. A lot of our league, 14-team league, tough to break 100 in this week. So a lot of poor performances across the board. But the MVP of week 2, well, he's back, guys. Lamar Jackson, 47.42 points. That's back-to-back MVPs for our man, the White Knucklers. Teams coming together quite nicely for him. Biggest bench performer, well, that was number 14. He left Devonta Smith on the bench, scoring 31.3 points. That's a tough pill to swallow. And Chris Barker, our co-host with the mostest, leaves Trevor Lawrence benched, scoring 31.18 points. Chris, man, what are you doing? But consensus FAAB picks, we had some decent pickups. I talked about how I, poo-pooed David Njoku last week. So what did he do? He went ham. That's just about how it goes. So somebody went and picked up those scraps I left on the waivers with a $30 bid, the great Goatsy, snagging David Njoku and dropping Sterling Shepard. Tough injury for Sterling Shepard. I wish him nothing but the best. That was a ACL injury, I believe. Didn't look good. That guy's battled injuries throughout his young playing career. I feel for him. The other notable pickup, Richie James, Giants wide receiver, going to Chris Barker for a solid $7. He drops Baltimore defense. Might be a nice depth piece at the end of his bench. So we'll see how that plays out. Tony, anything else kind of caught your eye on waivers?
Yeah, let's see. We had a couple of defenses go here. Matt Collins, obviously. Let's face it. Oh, look at Matt. Dropping Jimmy G for Marcus Mariota. Jimmy G not getting the job done for you over there, but
I kind of like the matchup that Mariota's got going. They take on the Browns, and we just saw what happened to Myles Garrett. Tony, I don't like to give you any editing work, but if you're able to throw a nice little picture up here of the Myles Garrett car crash, that Porsche, it was in pretty rough shape. So he's likely not to play for week 4. And who's on the other end? Oh, Jadeveon Clowney. I don't think he's playing either. Or if he is, he's not going to be 100%. So that Browns defense is looking a little lighter, and I think that gives more opportunity for Mariota this week. So I picked him up. I'm kind of in streaming mode ever since I lost Trey Lance. So Mariota is going to be my pick of the week.
Hey, I like it. Hey, that's some good insight. He's certainly been serviceable this season, even as we've progressed through the year. But not to glean over those defenses I mentioned earlier. It looks like Dallas went for, about $4. Fortunately, Dietrich had a $3 bid on that one, lost. And Pittsburgh went for $3. Oh, look at this. Matt, also a $3 bid here. So looks like $3 isn't cutting it in the FAAB league this year, huh?
No, Tony. I got sniped 2 times. I used to pride myself on getting these FAAB budgets correct for the week and sniping picks from other people, but they got the best of me this one. But I got the Saints defense. I might roll with them another week. They're playing the Vikings, and good old Kirky Cousins sometimes doesn't show up to primetime games very much. They got the London game going, so maybe that bad juju carries over, and I roll with the Saints for another week.
I like it. Well, let's move on to some NFL news and injuries. Topping our list, we have Mac Jones, New England quarterback, with a high ankle sprain. Oh, Mac Jones!
Mike Jones!
And it didn't look good, D. This man could miss 3 to 4 weeks.
No, this is tough, and now they're going into Lambeau Field to play the Green Bay Packers, who have a ferocious defensive line. And Brian Hoyer is going to be under center now, and he's going to be running for his life. So they're not doing him any favors here. This New England team was already having a little trouble on the offensive side of the ball, Tony, and losing Mac Jones, I don't think helps it one bit.
Agreed.
But hey, I talked to this guy up personally on the very first episode of season 2. Zach Wilson, quarterback in the New York Jets, looks like he's had that knee injury throughout the preseason, but looks like he's going to return this week against Pittsburgh. Tony, you're probably not playing him if you're a fantasy owner, even in 2 quarterback leagues. You probably want to wait and see and just get a sense of what this week is going to look like for Zach Wilson. But I think he's got streaming potential down the road. What say you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm even wary to maybe start some of the other Jets that we've been comfortable starting into this high-flying passing offense. Just year to date, the Jets have passed something like 70% of the time, which is like 10% more than some of the highest in recent history. Will that trend continue with Zach Wilson, or do we come back down to earth there? So
yeah, you're certainly worried if you're like a Garrett Wilson owner and you've seen some nice points in the last couple of weeks. You're hoping that train continues, but we'll have to wait and see what will the real Zach Wilson please stand up next week so we can set lineups accordingly.
Man, we have another quarterback here on our list at the 3rd spot, Dak Prescott with the thumb. Coming out and saying, hey, don't rule him out for week 4. I know he was getting his stitches out this week. So what do you think? Does he suit up?
I tend to believe it's going to be another week for him, but he's taking the Jerry Jones approach of this. Jerry Jones was putting him on the fast track for recovery as well, and everybody kind of said, "All right, Jerry, we got it." Like Dr. Jerry, we'll listen to the medical experts. But then Dak Prescott comes out and reiterates it that he thinks he might be good to go. But I don't know. Do you rush him out right now, Tony? Because Cooper Rush, weirdly enough, I almost picked him up to start him over Mariota because he's been a serviceable quarterback these last couple of weeks.
Absolutely. You might be getting Gallup back this week. Losing Dalton Schultz, although I don't think you had him last week. Been serviceable, as you said. The one person I think that benefits most likely from return of Dak Prescott is like what's the running back?
Zeke Elliott. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one man. If Dak's in there, you are always starting. It's a must start. So we'll see.
Let's move over to the running back position, Tony. We got Dalvin Cook. He's got the shoulder injury. It sounded like it was going to be Alexander Madison this week, but now, the injury reports are coming out saying that Dalvin Cook's day to day, he's got a device for that shoulder that sounds like he might be putting it on and maybe rolling out there this week. Do you have any confidence in Cook starting? And do you think, even if he does start, is Madison still maybe a flex play for some fantasy teams?
Sure. I have all the confidence in the world. Cook will start. He started a lot last year with this same issue, and it was just a dislocation. He's dealt with that before. He's dealt with it since high school, from what I understand. And I played a very similar situation. Tony Pollard last week, right? And he warranted me enough points. I think Madison can get you enough points, especially in deeper leagues. Roll him out there, man. Roll him out there.
Yeah, it's hard in the streets for a running back right now if you're desperate. So I think trotting out Alexander Madison for the week is not the worst idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I know you have this guy's handcuffed, DeAndre Swift. He is out with shoulder and ankle, man. Heads and knees and toes and everything, man, all the way. Dan Campbell indicating Swift could miss the next 2 weeks, and I think they're on a bye after that week. So really giving the man some time to rest and recoup. So as the Jamal Williams owner, man, you rolling him out there this week?
Yeah, I don't mean to rub it in on you too bad because I know you're a Swift owner yourself, Tony. But this is coming at a good time for my squad because I need a running back to get out there. So Jamal Williams is going to be serviceable for me in these 2 weeks. And yeah, you nailed it. The news is indicating that we're probably not going to see Swift until like a week 7 return just because that bye week is in there. So It's tough sledding for the Swift owners, but if you picked up Jamal Williams, I know a lot of leagues had Jamal sitting on waivers, and this week, the waivers ran. He was probably a top pickup in many leagues.
Absolutely.
Moving on from that, we got, more running back problems. We got Joe Mixon with the ankle injury. He went down for a little bit. We saw a lot of Samaje Perine in that game. So the ankle injury doesn't sound too serious, but this is the Thursday night game, and that's where it gets a little dicey, Tony. So it's worth monitoring up until kickoff to see what it sounds like. I'm assuming Joe Mixon's going to try it out right before the game, try it out. And we're going to see, we're going to see what comes of it. But you got to keep a close eye on this one if you're a Mixon owner.
Agreed. Yeah, I think he ends up rolling out there. I didn't think the severity of this injury was too bad. They certainly need him there. And to round out our list, we have David Montgomery, another running back with an ankle and knee injury. Also not sure of the severity yet. They're calling him day to day. He did not practice Wednesday, but Dietrich, pretty crazy here that the two running backs that we mentioned, DeAndre Swift and David Montgomery, their handcuffs were actually top 3 on the week after they went out. So do you got any Herbert stock over there too?
Herbert's unavailable for our league. There is skank on the waiver wire in our leagues. Herbert was on a team, and I think he was drafted as well. So there was no taking of Jamal Williams or Herbert, but I think he's an excellent pickup in Tony. Do you see Herbert stealing some shares from Montgomery as he gets healthy? Because this offense, he is a dominant runner, and he looks great out there on the field. I think he gets more opportunities as the season goes on.
Yeah, I agree. He runs hard. He's sneaky. He moves fast. All of a sudden, he's at the line of scrimmage, and then he's crossing for the first, man. You're like, how did he get that far that fast? It's amazing to watch that man run. I was amazed to come into the season and see how much Montgomery was running, getting the share. I thought it would be much more of a committee, and so I think that's what we'll see moving forward for sure.
We got to kind of see it firsthand, Tony. We took the wives last year to that Bears-Packers game, and that was kind of Herbert's kind of coming out game where he got to start, and I think he racked up over 100 yards on that Packers defense. He looked excellent.
Yeah, they weren't ready for him at all. Yeah. But, all right, Matt, let's move on from injuries to some better news. Our locks of the week. I'll go ahead and let's start here. And this is my most confident game of the week. The Los Angeles Chargers over the Houston Texans. My Chicago Bears won a close one against the Houston Texans last week. I called it, remember. And I think Chargers, although a little bit banged up, Joey Bosa going down, and obviously Herbert, he did play last week. Expect him to roll out there again. Might get Keenan Allen back this week. We'll see. Go out there and beat the Houston Texans at home.
Yeah, great pick, Tony. So for my lock of the week, well, first, I didn't think the Chiefs would slip up last week against Indy, so I'm already down one here. Need to make sure that doesn't happen again, which is why I am taking the Green Bay Packers. If Aaron Rodgers can outduel the GOAT last week, well, he can take on Brian Hoyer as well, or at least that's my thoughts. Hoyer will be pressured a ton, sacked a ton in this game. The Packers might get up 14 to 17 points kind of early in this one, so they might just hit the cruise control button. So I don't know if this will be a fantasy bonanza happening here, Tony, but the Pack will get the dub, and the passing game for New England will probably be a downright mess.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Mac Jones is a huge part of that offense, and with him gone, I'm where to start any pass catchers there.
So for the bold prediction, hey, I took the Dolphins last week, and hey, look what happened. They came out and they whooped on the Buffalo Bills. That was kind of a cool sight to see. So I'm going to try to keep the hot hand going here, and I'm going to take my bold prediction of Geno Smith as a pair of he had a pair of 2 touchdown games in these last 3 weeks of the Seattle football, and that Detroit defense has allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. So I think him and DK Metcalf are kind of gelling now. It took a little bit, but now the targets are coming. So I think DK, he got in the end zone last week. It's likely to happen this week too. You're going to see 10 plus targets to DK Metcalf. He obviously has the talent to turn those into worthwhile fantasy points. So this is the week of unsexy performances from the quarterback position. Marcus Mariota, Geno Smith, Zach Wilson perhaps. So it's happening for Geno. Geno's going to get the win, and he's going to get at least 2 touchdown passes in this one, and look for DK Metcalf to kind of light it up and get things going.
I love it, man. Yeah, I think they're heating up there. Geno was 4th on yardage last week and 7th in fantasy points. The man's just simply getting it done. He's consistent at the position.
Serviceable, yeah.
I'm going to continue with your whipping post, the Buffalo Bills, and say that Baltimore holds them off at home. Buffalo Bills are getting -3. They both saw a Miami in recent weeks. Miami used their air attack to get to Buffalo, and it was a shootout when Miami and Baltimore played. I think it was a 3-point difference there, so it was a close one. Lamar Jackson hitting air yards and getting another 70-plus yard rushing day. He had 100 this past week, so can certainly hit 100 yards again this week. That's what's going to get it done and hold off the Bills. And although they came out strong, they could go 2-2 here.
Man, I am hoping for fireworks in this game, Tony. I'm thinking it might be a back and forth shootout. So this is one of the ones I got circled for week 4. I'm gonna keep a close eye on this game because it's going to be electric.
Yeah.
All right, well let's jump into the Thursday night preview, Tony. It's a good one too. We got the Miami Dolphins traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. FanDuel opened up its sportsbook with Bengals -3.5. I think that line has moved to moved to -4, Tony, with the over-under at 46.5. So it's dipped a little bit from our show doc here. But let's get into the matchup here. Burrow, as we know, was the top pick of the 2020 NFL draft, and Tua was picked number 5 overall in that draft. And playing in the Southeastern Conference's tough West Division, the two squared off twice while in college, with each coming away with a victory. So fast forward to 2022, Cincinnati is 1-2, and they're hoping to hand Miami, who's 3-0, that first loss of the season. Dolphins are the NFL's hottest team right now. Massive AFC wins over in New England, Baltimore, and Buffalo. And Tony, these white Bengal unis, you see what they're rolling out with for this Thursday night game?
Oh, yeah.
You know what that means? Bet the Bengals to win. That's what I'm going with. I'm taking the Bengals in this one.
Ooh, man. You take a money line or spread?
Oh, man. I think I'll take the Bengals -3.5. Yeah, it's gonna be a close one, but I think they have what it takes to get that first loss for Miami. So it's gonna be a good one. Tony, how do you see this one shaking out? And what do you think of players like, I know you got stock in that Chase Edmonds. You've had some mountain highs, you've had some valley lows. What's it gonna be for the Thursday night special here?
Yeah, it unfortunately with Chase Edmonds, I think it just comes down to game script and what they're doing there. And how they can beat their opponent. I personally thought, they were giving Bengals -3.5 here, thinking Tua would be out of the game, right? So that's still questionable now, I believe. He hasn't practiced yet in the concussion protocol. What a weird fall and just stumble after in week 3, right?
I don't know what to make of it. He according to Tua and the Dolphins, brass, they're saying that his back locked up, and that's what it was. But it sure looked like concussion protocol symptoms to me. But hey, not a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. So surprised to see if this was a line that Tua would actually play and Vegas would give the points to Cincinnati. I don't know. That's hard for me, and I love Cincinnati. I love taking them as almost a second team to me. As my employer record is warehoused there. But I think I'm going to take Miami here. They have come out. They've beaten Baltimore. They've beaten Buffalo. And Cincinnati just does not look like the team of yore. They're still trying to get their pieces together. And I think Miami just gets it done until Cincinnati can really prove themselves.
It's really the offensive line that's hindering Joe Burrow's performance. I truly believe that. And this was a team that went out and we'll have to fact check this, Tony, but I think they went out and spent close to $75 million to shore up that offensive line. And Joe Burrow is like on pace to have like 160 sacks this year. So he's just getting pressured left, right, and center. And, that's troubling for Joe Burrow. He's a talented guy. He saw Jamar Chase, 10 targets for Jamar Chase last week, 16 targets in week 1. So I hope that kind of production continues, especially with me starting him on the team and needing some fantasy production out of Jamar Chase. But let's see if they can right the ship and sneak a win away from this undefeated Dolphins team.
Would love to see it. All right. Moving on to the Sunday night preview, we have Kansas City Chiefs at Tampa Bay. Oh, yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
this
another
is
good one.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait to, man. We got some good slates on the table this week. Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is getting the 1.5 points. Over under is 45.5. Confirming that is still the line, D.
Confirmed, yeah.
All right. Kansas City, man, they've had some ups and downs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire there, coming out this season, performing a lot better than I thought. Really getting him the ball. That's something we haven't seen in years past. Kelsey still doing Kelsey things, and but they do have, I think, some banged up wide receiver core or Sky Moore. Whether he's banged up or he's just underperforming, I don't know. He's not on the field. And I think he muffed 2 returns, right, last week. So
he's not on the field and not on many people's fantasy rosters anymore. That guy hit the waivers in many leagues.
And same story on Tampa Bay side. Who is Tommy Buns throwing to? We're hoping to see we get Godwin back here soon. But who is he throwing through? We see a playoff Lenny performing really well. And I went out and acquired Rachaad White because with as much as they're running that offense, I think Rachaad will have a better position there moving forward, or Lenny going down will force that volume moving forward.
It's a great stash.
But if I was to pick who's gonna win, I'm gonna have to go with Tampa Bay at home. The 1.5 doesn't, really help me much, but I'll take it because, I'll take the money line because it is plus 108, and I think they're gonna be slinging more than 45 points here, so I'll take the over. What say you, Matt?
This is a tough one as well. This is a Super Bowl 55 rematch here. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to Tampa for now, Tony, but I say for now because with the hurricane, the NFL was considering an alternate location, and the Bucs have been conducting their practices all week in Miami, the Dolphins headquarters leading up to this game. So the rumors were that since the Vikings face the Saints in London on Sunday morning, the Superdome is available, and they might go there as they didn't want to move it to Miami to take up state resources that could be kind of better utilized in the aftermath of this hurricane. So keep an eye out on this line. It might get a little funky. You might see FanDuel pull it down for a little bit as they, kind of go through these contingency plans with the hurricane going on. This is a tough one to call. Weather aside, this is a tough one to call because both teams are looking to bounce back from some ugly Week 3 losses. It's like, do you start Tom Brady? I mean, you do get Mike Evans back. And but outside of that, like you said, Tone, it's a banged up receivers room there in Tampa. I think you can. I think you can roll out Brady again. This Brady-Mahomes matchup used to be fireworks, straight fireworks, like what we've seen. But this might be more of the defensive battle side of it. You mentioned Sky Moore, a couple guys on waivers and even in 14-team leagues, like you dropped Mecole Hardman. These guys aren't producing at a fantasy value that is worth maintaining. Maybe these guys get, stash worthiness later on in the season once the depth charts, start to shake out and injuries start to play a role later on in the year. Boy, Tone, I think I might go contrarian here with you, just for funsies here. I think the Chiefs might get this. Um, I'll take the Chiefs money line because the 1.5, whatever. That doesn't get me. 1.5 doesn't get me out of bed in the morning, Tone. So let me take the Chiefs money line, and I feel like this will be the game that is the media portrayal of Brady. Like, he's lost his playmaker abilities, and you'll get all those pieces, those hit pieces, which only will fuel Tom Brady, and he will probably from this game just be absolutely on fire for the following few weeks. But for this week and last week, no Microsoft tablet is safe from this one. So let's see. Let me get a score. Let me go 24-20 Chiefs.
Whew, nice. Very nice. Speaking of tablets, how about that Bills offensive coordinator?
Yeah. He didn't look very happy. If I was if I was to gauge his emotions up there in the booth, he wasn't thrilled with the outcome of the game.
A lot of 4-letter words.
Let's see. All right, we'll cover one more, right, Tone? We got the Monday night game. We got the LA Rams going against the San Francisco 49ers. This is in San Fran. FanDuel had the line at 49ers minus 2.5, with the over-under at 42.5. Man, Tone, the 49ers were a heaping pile of garbage in Denver last weekend. An absolute brutal loss in what felt like an extremely winnable game against Denver. And now they go home, but have to take on the defending champions. This is the Rams. That being said, since 2017, the Rams are just 1-4 on the road against the 49ers, and their last win in San Fran was actually back in 2018. And excuse me, another stat that was surprising to me, you think of the Rams defense, you think Aaron Donald, and that's, absolutely terrifying. But however, the Rams have just 13 total pressures this season. That pressure rate is the lowest in the NFL, it's kind of a shocking stat.
Jeez.
But from a fantasy standpoint, I think I heard something about this wide receiver guy, Tone. I think his name is Cooper Kupp. Yeah, I think that guy's pretty good. PFF's highest graded wide receiver through 3 weeks. So, yeah, there you go. And Matt Stafford, while certainly has contributed to Cooper Kupp's dominance in the NFL so far, his fantasy point production hasn't been what I would necessarily call ideal. I was checking out Yahoo's point leaders at the quarterback position. Tony, he's pretty far down the quarterback list. He's only beating out Mitch Trubisky by 1 fantasy point right now. And believe it or not, Russell Wilson is just 2 points behind Matt Stafford right now.
This was not the tale of last season. Both him and Kupp were doing pretty well. He was at least top 10, right? Oh, man. What has happened there in LA? Are you picking one of these guys yet?
Oh, goodness. I knew you were going to ask, and I don't for me, and I think many others had the 49ers win in this division, and I do too. And this is a get-right game. Like, San Fran is in dire straits if they don't get this win. I think I'm going to take San Fran. I'm not going to feel great about it, though, Tone.
I don't blame you. And seeing the history there, that's interesting. I would have thought the contrary, but that is very interesting. Like you said, I think it's a get-right game for both teams, certainly. LA, Matt Stafford, I don't think he's come out and performed to where we had expected coming off of a Super Bowl win. And San Francisco 49ers, they started with Trey Lance. This was Jimmy G after a whole game and a half of a game just to round out. Can he come out and do a little bit better in week 4 with some time with the ones? Potentially, but I think there are some underperformers on the LA side where we've seen Gerald Henderson's time come kind of pull back. Cam Akers kind of moving into the foreground. Does that look like more of a committee there, or is Cam Akers going to kind of beat out Darrell Henderson there? To be determined. And Allen Robinson, man, people are down on him, but he is a talent, and he is being targeted in the red zone. and just, not coming away with the ball. That will not continue, and that will lead to touchdowns and scoring. And that's the one ticket. If they get Allen Robinson going in this game, which I think they can, we'll take LA over San Francisco this week.
Shoot, Tony, they paid him a lot of money to do it, and fantasy owners invested quite a bit of draft capital in Allen Robinson. And it's been a little bit of a shaky start. Maybe a little bit of bad luck playing into that too, because we did see, I saw him line up in the backfield and catch a touchdown pass that got called back on a penalty. So maybe that plus a couple others come together, and Robinson's stats maybe look a little different, and you feel a little bit better about it. But man, I'd like to see him perform a little bit closer to his ADP that it was in the beginning of the year. So time will tell with that. But right now, I feel like folks in Chicago, or when he was playing in Chicago and now in LA, maybe still have a little bit of a sour taste for Allen Robinson.
Yeah. You hate to see a man do poorly, but you're kind of like, maybe it wasn't Fields' fault after all, right? So I'll take LA. I will take the points as well. And I think this at 42.5, man, that's about right where I think the points would be. So I kind of lean I'll lean the under on that one.
I think so too, Tony. The line is great for that game, 42.5. I will take the under as well. I'll probably take the under for the Chiefs Bucks as well at 45.5. But I could be talked into the over on that 47, or I guess it changed to 46.5 for that Dolphins Bengals.
Yeah. So they took a half a point away from Miami from both the over and yeah. So hey, love to see it.
Joey B, those white unis, man, look out.
We did a section on that right in the preseason, looking at those Thursday night colors, and I think that was our unanimous favorite.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Tone. We're getting towards the end of the show. We don't have any Barker's bets to cover. Hopefully he tweets him out. Follow us at Moose Knuckle FFL. We can get some bets out of Barker and see what he got locked in for the week. But Tone, you got a pretty important matchup here with dead money. How do you feel about the squad? Looks like right now he might have about a 10-point edge, a little over 10-point edge right now in terms of projections from Yahoo. But how are you feeling about the matchup this week?
Yeah, I certainly need Carson Wentz to come out and play. Started out hot, not so hot last week, so going to need Carson to come out. And I'm down like DeAndre Swift, as we talked about earlier, so I'm rolling out Tony Pollard and Chase Edmonds. Need them to come through as well. It's going to be an uphill battle, I think, for me, but we're the closest matchup as far as the rankings in 9th and 11th on the week, so should be interesting. I expected our way to come out a little harder than this season with his draft capital, but we'll see what he can pull out. How about you, Jamar Lago, taking on the half chub over there? That's a lot closer point total than myself. So how you feeling about your matchup?
I feel okay. Yeah, 9 points separating the two of us right now. Hey, let's not throw any shade at Tim's team. It looks great. And we were just talking about it. We thought the Bengals and Dolphins matchup would be high octane and got a lot of points on the board. Well, he's rolling out Joe Burrow as his starting quarterback. So that's alarming. And you know who else he's got? He's got Cooper Kupp as his wide receiver. So we were hyping up a lot of these guys, and that's going to be at my expense, likely. So we'll see how that rolls out. I already talked about it. My start of the week, Marcus Mariota. Picked him up. I'm going to throw him in there going against the Cleveland Browns. I think there's points to be had there, and I think he runs one in. So I'm going to hope that he can just give me at least a decent floor with that running. I got Jamar Chase, so hopefully those Joe Burrow touchdown passes, start to cancel each other out a little bit. So that might help me slightly. AJ Brown, he's been a stud. He's looking great. Jalen Hurts is looking his way very often. High target share. Jalen Hurts, man, I think what do you say, Tone? I think he's on his way for MVP candidacy for for this year. He's looking excellent. And that Philadelphia Eagles team, one of the other ones that are undefeated right now going into week 4, very interesting team. So A.J. Brown has been one of the few bright spots of my fantasy team so far. We talked about Jamal Williams, with the injury to Swift. I'm rolling him out there as the RB1, and I got Kareem Hunt slotted in the RB2 slot right now. So probably a lot, maybe a little too much that I got going in this Atlanta-Cleveland matchup, but that's just how the cards were dealt for me, so I'm going to roll with it. And Christian McCaffrey, again, popping up on the injury report today, Thursday's practice. So they still got him projected for 20, so I'm hoping that it's not serious. But every time you see Christian McCaffrey, get that Yahoo notification that he changes to questionable, I'm like, great, fantastic. It elevates the blood pressure a little bit. I think this will be the last year I have Christian McCaffrey. My heart can't take it much longer.
There's only so many seasons a man can take.
I know. But yeah, Tim's team is strong, so I got to put up the points to keep up with him. With Joey B, Cooper Kupp, he's got Mike Evans. He's got running back Breece Hall, who's coming on and kind of slowly eating into that target share from Michael Carter on that Jets offense. So I think, more points to be had for him going through the season. And his really only weak point is he's got Smith-Schuster in the flex right now. That's the Sunday night game. He hasn't necessarily performed up to what people might have expected in Kansas City. He's actually got Allen Lazard on the bench. He scored again last week. I think if I was Tim, I might feel more confident in rolling out an Allen Lazard or Zay Jones or Matt Collins. All of those guys had pretty decent outputs last week.
Yeah, even Zay Jones. I mean, he was the number 1 there, I think, this week. Christian Kirk being the 2, right?
Yeah, Zay Jones had 11 targets and caught 10 balls. I mean, 85 and a tutty. He had a great week.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty there. I think I would agree with you rolling out the others. Romeo Doubs, look at he took advantage of his opportunity there. A lot of people calling for him to be number 1. Woo.
He was a hot waiver pickup, yeah. So Romeo Doubs, I think there's more to come here. So I think folks that burn their top waiver priority to score Doubs, I think it's worthwhile. It's not going to probably be, he's not going to light the world on fire in this next week or maybe the week after, but going through the season, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to build a ton of confidence and rapport with Romeo Doubs, and you're going to see him being a playmaker for Green Bay, probably more so than Christian Watson, who just hasn't really been able to stay healthy yet throughout the preseason and early on in this regular season.
Yeah. Well, man, best of luck to you. I only want to highlight one other matchup, and that's with Chris and his friend and arch rival Orzlick. As you've said, MVP 2 weeks in a row, White Knucklers, Lamar Jackson on his team, gonna come out hot. It's going to be hard for Chris, who thought he was riding high week 1. That was his only win week 1, beating a league favorite for probably going to the Super Bowl, Bell Cow Breeder Reese. So it'll be fun to watch those two go back and forth. I'm sure there'll be a lot of 4-letter words in the chat this week between the two. And right now, Chris is behind the 8 ball, projected 114 to 124. And I think Orzlick's going to take it.
Yeah, you're leaving out you're burying the lead here, Tony, because Matt and his wife just welcomed a new baby girl. And you know what that means in this league. The baby bump is real in the Moose Knuckle League. Once babies come into the fold, there's points to be had. So this is, the arrow is trending up for Mr. Orzlick and the White Knucklers. And he's got Lamar Jackson. I kind of like his sneaky stack that he likes to do with Duvernay. Even though Duvernay, a lot of his production has been coming from just being on kickoff receiving, but sometimes he sneaks into the end zone and he just likes that stackage. So we'll see if it pays off. And he's got Brandon Cooks. I've always liked Brandon Cooks. I feel like he's a serviceable guy that doesn't get enough credit. And you got to think more points are coming for Davante Adams. He's been a little quiet at the start of the year. Raiders the only team that haven't won a game in the NFL, which is a little surprising. So let's see Davante Adams get things right again going against that Denver defense. But one of the steals of the draft, or one of the values I would call it, was Chris Barker getting Saquon Barkley, because Saquon is looking excellent, and that's the way he's going to be able to keep up with Mr. Orzlich, is seeing that high production with Barkley going against Chicago.
Absolutely. I mean, some are ranking him maybe the RB1 if you redraft the league. JT, still up there in the conversation. So, 1A, 1B there with those two. I rescind the 114 to 124. That is inaccurate because Chris does not have a defense in right now. This guy's slacking on his team like he just had a baby. Come on, Chris, get in there. Set your lineup. Football's tomorrow.
Do better.
All right, bud. Any other matches you want to highlight?
One that I just got off the phone earlier today with our good friend. I beat Ryan twice, Mr. Jake Warren. He's in dire straits right now. He is 0-3, and he's going against Gavin, who has got a strong team sitting in second place. And, Jake's hoping that good old Tommy Buns, Mr. Brady, really lights up the scoreboard Sunday night against Kansas City, because he needs to get those points. And he's been dealing with a litany of injuries at the wide receiver position. Keenan Allen, Chris Godwin. He's got Jarvis Landry in there right now just to try to patch these holes that he's got, and even Landry's finding himself on the injury report right now. So this is tough sledding for Jake. I hope Keenan Allen gets things right so he can trot out there for him. That LA Chargers weaponry that he's had, and Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler just haven't yet turned into the fantasy powerhouse you drafted them to be. And what more can we say about Gavin's team? We already talked about Jalen Hurts being an absolute baller, and league or podcast favorite, I'll call it, Michael Pittman Jr. at the wide receiver position. I think the three of us are big fans of his work. And he snuck in Dameon Pierce and Alvin Kamara and Marquise Brown. He's just got an excellent lineup, and I think he's in for some major point scoring. And hopefully Jake can keep up.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I think Jameis Winston was second on the week last week in yardage, and I mean that should translate into value for people like Jarvis Landry if he can be out on the field. I liked him; he was performing way above his draft day capital, and Eckler too. We knew that he had a ton of touchdowns last year. And he was going to regress from where he kind of performed to end the year, but they're just not getting him the ball, and I think we'll kind of come back to form here in the weeks to come, especially with Herbert. He's not 100%. I definitely have a lot of capital there in the LA Chargers, and there's better days ahead for us, I believe.
I think so too. And you want to talk about targets. We touched on it earlier in the episode, but DK Metcalf, Geno Smith finally found him, got him 12 targets last week, and I think that trend continues. So better days ahead there for Jake, having DK in the flex spot right now.
Yeah, and Godwin on his bench once he comes back. You better bet that it's going to be a nice stack. Tom Brady and Godwin.
Yeah. For now, he's just trying to fight to stay afloat. I mean, the guy's got Cole Beasley on his roster right now, trying to claw at anything right now to get some wide receiver points. It's tough. It's tough sledding right now.
Newly acquired Cole Beasley. Yeah, I know, man. It's tough when you got the Beasles. But Gavin gave me the shellacking of my life last week, so it's going to be hard, I think, for Jake to overcome. But hopefully he stays in it.
The only good thing he's got going is Ryan, the great Goatsy Saros, is also sitting at 0-3 and currently 14th in the Moose Knuckle standings. He's going against Mr. 14, #overcooked meats. I don't know. You want to pull up that matchup real quick, Tony? Because I actually think this might be Ryan's for the taking, because who does he got? Well, he's got our boy Romeo Dobbs. We just got done hyping up. Who else has he got? Oh, he's got Khalil Herbert sitting there in the running back position. So a couple of these guys that kind of are newer faces, maybe newer to some people's fantasy rosters from the recent waivers that have ran. Well, Ryan's been sitting on these guys, and sure enough, it looks like it's about to pay off this week.
Yeah, man, look at that. Matt Stafford was just talking about him. I hope he has a better week in San Francisco. Cordell Patterson, certainly people were uncertain about how he would be coming out of such a fiery year last year, and he's been doing great. And look at that, newly acquired Njoku having a great week 3 in his tight end spot. DJ Moore, my wide receiver 6 on the year. Oh, God. Early projections. He's got a Baker problem. But other than that, man, I think you're right. He could take this week easily. Not easily, but it'll be a battle. On the other side of the ball, number 14, Zach has Derek Carr. Projected at 22 points. If he can get Devontae to go off, and they are versing Denver, I think he could outperform that projection.
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin.
Especially if you throw 44 passes like he did last week.
Right. And this gets kind of like the symptom of what he was beginning of last year, top in yardage. He can get there. Najee Harris, Leonard Fournette. I like both of those running backs. And Lenny versus Kansas City, we thought that was going to be a pretty high-scoring game, so it's Vegas. So, yeah. It's got Tyreek Hill, though, man. That is like having a nuclear bomb on your lineup. Yeah, man.
Could be a 50 burger any week.
Yeah. And I remember when I played him week 2, I thought I had it in hand, and that Buffalo defense came out and scored 20 points. I think he needed 25. He was making me sweat there on that Monday night game.
Yeah, Zach's team doesn't look too bad. I really think he's hoping for a quarterback position change out there in Pittsburgh, because I think Deontay Johnson and Najee Harris will probably both benefit from that. And then, yeah, you talked about playoff Lenny, and yeah, Tyreek Hill. I mean, it's a good squad. I mean, a lot of the Washington, a lot of points to be spread around there in that Washington offense. Terry McLaurin's actually been probably third out of the group that's been receiving points, but probably better days ahead. So Carson Wentz will probably find some love for Terry this week going against Dallas. And who do you think outperforms at the tight end position between these two? Because I think it's pretty close, Tony. Zach's got Tyler Higbee, and Ryan's got the aforementioned David Njoku. I think this might be a Higbee week myself.
Yeah, if I'm projecting Allen Robinson, I think Higbee takes a hit there. Njoku at Atlanta. I like to see Mr. Brisket continue to feed Njoku, so I'll take the contrary here.
All right. Let's call it lunch.
Yeah.
Put it on the board. The silly tight end bet.
Yeah. All right, boss.
All right. I think that's it for us today, Tone. Anything else you want to share with the group before we sign off for the day?
No, I just appreciate you, everybody. Good luck in week 4. Good luck to our partner in crime, podcast partner in crime, Chris, wherever you might be. Knees in front of a TV, porcelain. Yeah, God bless you, bud. And we hope for a speedy recovery and return next week. But from Matt and myself, we thank you. Any other closing words, Matt?
Thank you all for those on YouTube tuning in. We appreciate you. Just give us a like and comment down below. Let us know how we're doing. Any other topics you'd like us to cover? Good, bad, otherwise, all comments are welcome. So thanks so much for tuning in, and good luck on your matchups this week, you guys.
Peace.
Peace out.